Welcome, friends, to another Wolff Responds. Today we're going to be talking about merit and meritocracy. It's in the news a great deal because President Trump and the people around him are using ideas and the words merit and meritocracy to justify the ending of the DEI movement here in the United States. DEI, diversity, equality, inclusion. The DEI movement arose out of earlier movements in which people discriminated against, excluded, treated unfairly and unequally, decided to do something about it. And they confronted then the same barrier, the attempt by the people who did the discriminating, who did the excluding, and so on, to justify what they had done as if it was simply a byproduct of their commitment to get the best person for the job. In other words, to use merit as some sort of objective measure of a person's worth, of a person's capacity to do a job, and so on. Let me therefore devote this short commentary on the necessary ridiculization, if I can make up a word, of the notion of merit and meritocracy, because it has always been 100% fraudulent. Let me begin with a personal story. When I was a graduate student in economics at Yale University, none of the students in the class, most of the classes I took, were women. If there were any women in my graduate classes, they were very, very few. Is that because they didn't have merit to get into graduate school at Yale? And the answer is an unqualified and obvious no. Here's the proof. Today, it's not unusual to have graduate courses in economics at Yale and elsewhere in which more than half the students are, in fact, female. And they have gone on to be professors. When I was a student at Yale, there were hardly any women professors of economics. It was an all male opportunity and operation. No one in their right mind now would claim that women as a category lack merit relative to men. Indeed, I believe the latest numbers are more women than men are in college, let alone in the professions. When I was a child, we didn't have female policemen. They were called policemen because there were no others. And I never saw a black firefighter in the first half of my life. I could go on and on and on. Women and non-whites, particularly, were allocated lower jobs, lower pay, fewer responsibilities, and it was always justified, if you brought it up, by comments about how they lacked the capacity, which is another way of saying they didn't have the merit. Who has merit? Whoever's got the most money to make it clear that they're the only ones with merit. Right now, the entire government of the United States is being reshuffled with thousands or perhaps even millions of people set to lose their jobs because two white billionaires, Trump and Musk, are deciding who has merit and who doesn't. And we're all supposed to make believe that this is some sort of objective activity. Mr. Trump has already let us know how he approaches women, for example. or non-whites, for example. Musk, I don't know. I don't follow what he says, because it doesn't have much merit. Now, let's be honest. Merit is like beauty, it's in the eye of the beholder. If you want anything like a fair, reasonable merit system, you'd have to get very diverse people making the judgment. You'd have to have women and non-whites sitting right next to whites, and males, trying to figure out from their different perspectives what they might agree on in terms of someone's merit. Otherwise, if you exclude, then you don't get a merit judgment. Let me conclude with one of the great cartoons I saw a few years ago. It pictures a white man speaking to a black woman. And the white man says to the black woman, "How does it feel to have to worry that you got your job here because you're black and not because of your merit?" And she looks him up and down and she says, "You tell me." That's right. The people on top in our culture, the rich, the white, like Trump and Musk, they've decided what counts as merit. They don't have the honesty to reflect on their own biases, their own judgments, their own insecurities as shaping what they find meritorious. So they have to claim that they are somehow godlike supreme justices and judges who can determine merit. That was never true. It's been an excuse for exclusion, inequality, and narrow refusals to even think about diversity. Don't be fooled. If comments like these about the events of the day strike you as interesting and worthwhile, please share them. That's why we make these videos. And of course, if you can help us defray the costs of doing this, that will be enormously appreciated as well. Thank you.